Hello everyone, myself Dr. Julesna and welcome to my channel Prostho Hub. In today's session, we are going to discuss an important short note in the implantology topic, and that is all-on-4 treatment concept. So let us see the content. So beginning with introduction, then what is all-on-4 treatment concept? General considerations, advantages and disadvantages of the technique, the procedure that include different phases, that is the surgical phase and the prosthetic phase, the occlusal scheme for all-on-4, criteria for success, and finally conclusion and references. So before getting into detail, I request everyone to please do like and share my videos if you are finding these videos useful. If you are new to the channel Prostho Hub, please do subscribe. And if you have any queries, suggestions or any topic that needs to be discussed, do comment below the video or you can mail me at this mail ID. So let's start. So coming to introduction, advances in implant dentistry have allowed a shift from the early paradigms established by Brennemark and his co-workers. So advancements in implant design and techniques continue to emerge from the research, manufacturing and design, clinical techniques and practices. And all-on-4 treatment concept is one revolutionary change which is a solution for complex techniques like nerve repositioning, bone augmentation procedures, etc. and that help us to make it useful in completely edentulous patient by making use of the available bone. So what is all-on-4 treatment concept? So this is a concept that is used to rehabilitate completely edentulous jaws using just 4 implants. So this was introduced by Polo, Mallow and co-workers, that is the Mallow Clinic team, in the year 2003. And basically 4 implants are placed in edentulous jaws, 2 straight and 2 tilted. That is, the anterior implants are placed vertically and posterior implants are tilted in order to avoid anatomical structures like maxillary sinus. So usually when there is an alveolar atrophy in the posterior regions of fully edentulous patients, we usually go for bone augmentation procedures to increase the height and width of the available alveolus. So the technique-sensitive augmentation surgery can result in increased patient morbidity and complications. So all-on-4 treatment concept is a solution for that. So here we make maximum use of the available bone by tilting the posterior implants by up to a maximum of 45 degrees. And here the implants are loaded immediately with a provisional fixed dental prosthesis. And the all-on-4 concept can be combined with computer-aided diagnostics and treatment concept like the Nobel Guide, which we have already discussed in our previous session of recent advances in implants. So when we combine it with computer-aided diagnostics, it helps us with much more accurate placement of implants. So all-on-4 treatment concept is a concept that rehabilitates the complete edentulism using 4 implants, 2 anterior straight implants and the 2 tilted posterior implants, and that is loaded immediately. Now let's see the benefits of angled posterior implants. So like we have said in the previous slide, it helps to avoid relevant anatomical structures like the maxillary sinus or the mental foramen, and it can be anchored in better quality anterior bone. Then it offers improved support of the prosthesis by reducing the cantilever length. So when there is a vertical implant supporting a prosthesis with long cantilever, the stress is much more than that of reduced cantilever length. So all-on-4 help us to reduce the stress by reducing the cantilever length. And it also reduces the need for bone grafting technique by making maximum utilization of the available bone. And we can use angled abutments on the tilted implants, and that can be splintered, which help to decrease the stresses further around the distal implants. Next is the general consideration for all-on-4. So we need a 35 to 45 Newton centimeter insertion torque in order to achieve primary instant stability. And this technique is indicated with a minimum bone width of 5 mm and a minimum bone height of 10 mm from canine to canine in the maxilla and a 8 mm bone height in case of mandible. And if the angulation of the posterior implants is 30 degrees or more, then we need to splint the tilted implants in order to reduce the stress. And for tilted posterior implants, the distal screw access holes should be located at the occlusal face of the first premolar or second premolar or the first premolar. And this all-on-4 technique advocates immediate loading. So studies have said that a slight load on the healing bone shortens the healing time rather than prolonging, and immediately loaded implants osseointegrate provided that the forces as well as the implant micromotion are controlled. So these are the general considerations. Coming to advantages of all-on-4 technique. So there is high success rate. The implants are well spaced with good biomechanics, and it is easier to clean, and it is immediate function and improved aesthetics. And the final restoration can be fixed or removable. And the all-on-4 advocates tilting the distal implants in edentulous arches, which help us to place longer implants. So there is improved prosthetic support with shorter cantilever arm. And there is improved inter-implant distance and improved anchorage in the bone. And we have already discussed the benefits of angled posterior implants, like avoiding anatomical structures, reduces the cantilever length, etc. And since there is less number of implant, there is reduced cost also. And it is a graftless technique, so there is avoidance of grafting in majority of cases. So these are the advantages of all-on-4. Now the main disadvantages are all-on-4 technique is completely prosthetically driven, and so freehand arbitrary surgical placement of implant is not always possible. The next one is the length of the cantilever cannot be extended beyond the limit. So when the distal cantilevers are excessive in length, there is framework deformation, and that can result in fracture of the prosthetic screw or the acrylic resin teeth or even the framework itself. And the all-on-4 technique is technique sensitive, and it requires elaborate pre-surgical preparation like CAD-CAM, surgical splint, etc. Coming to the procedure of all-on-4 technique, which includes surgical phase, and we'll discuss about the anterior posterior spread and the prosthetic phase. So the first phase is the surgical phase, and let's see the steps in it. The first step is selection of case satisfying the inclusion criteria. So the criteria we have already discussed in the previous slide of general consideration, like the insertion torque of 35 to 45 Newton centimeter and the minimum bone width of 5 millimeter and height of 10 millimeter in case of maxilla and 8 millimeter in mandible. Then the second step is planning implant placement using the all-on-4 guide, which is the preferred technique. The third step is location of maxillary antrum and the mental foramen with the all-on-4 guide, and finally implant placement done following the protocols. Now let's see about the all-on-4 surgical guide. So usually the implants in maxilla are placed with the two distal implants in posterior region that is tilted anterior to the maxillary sinus, whereas in case of mandible the implants will be positioned anterior to the mental foramen. So the surgical guide helps us in ensuring that the implants are placed with a correct position, angulation and the emergence profile. And usually a 2 millimeter osteotomy is made in the midline position of the maxilla or the mandible, and a titanium band, you can see here, titanium band is contoured to follow the arc of the opposing arch. Okay, so if the implants are placed in the maxilla, a titanium band will be contoured on the opposing arch, that is the mandible. And the guide also assists in retracting the tongue in case of mandible. And the vertical lines on the guide are used as reference for drilling at the correct angulation, and that should not be greater than 45 degree. And the other guides that can be used for implant placement are surgical template, angulated pins, dentures, etc. Next, let's discuss about the anterior posterior spread. So what is AP spread? It is the distribution distance between the most anterior and the most posterior implants. So as you can see in the figure, these are the anterior implants, these are the posterior implants, and the distance between the most anterior and the most posterior implant, that is the AP spread. So what is the significance of AP spread? So in compromised cases like poor quality bone, we can increase the anterior posterior spread, thereby reducing the strain to the crestal bone. And when the anterior posterior spread increases, it will minimize the distal cantilever and establishes well distributed 4-point stability, and that will help for the implant as well as the prosthetic success. So Rangert has advocated simple guidelines for controlling the occlusal load, that is, an anterior posterior spread of 10 millimeter was proposed for a cantilever length of 20 millimeter. So if the anterior posterior spread is 10 mm, the cantilever should be twice that, that is 20 millimeter, and that is for mandibular implant supported fixed prosthesis. Whereas English advocated the posterior cantilever of the mandibular implant supported fixed prosthesis should be only 1.5 times the anterior posterior spread. So he said that the mandibular distal cantilever should be 10 to 12 millimeter in length, whereas in case of maxilla, the posterior cantilever should be reduced to 6 to 8 mm only. That is because of low bone density. So this is about the anterior posterior spread, which is the distribution distance between the most anterior and the most posterior implant. Coming to the prosthetic face. So we make an open tray impression. So first we have to place the open tray impression copings onto the multi-unit abutments, and then they are splinted using an autopolymerizing resin like a GC pattern resin and with the help of wire bars. So you can see in the picture, this is the splinting with the autopolymerizing resin and wire bars. So this will help us for an accurate transfer of the implant position along with impression coping without any displacement. So once the open tray impression is made, that is with a rigid polyvinyl siloxane material, then we have to construct the provisional all acrylic resin prosthesis, and this is given to the patient either after a few hours or overnight, and then the provisional is stoked to 15 Newton centimeter, and then the patient is reviewed after 1 week, at 3 weeks, 3 months, and then annually. Now at 3-month appointment, fabrication of definitive prosthesis can be started. So the final restoration, it can be a CAD/CAM designed fixed prosthesis with zirconia or titanium framework. So the individual crowns will be cemented to the final bridge framework, or it can be a fixed prosthesis with CAD/CAM designed titanium or zirconia framework with veneering, or a fixed prosthesis with cast metal and veneering porcelain, or it can be a removable final prosthesis like a milled bar overdenture. So these are the solutions, permanent solution for the prosthesis. Next is the occlusal scheme for the all-on-4 technique. So we know that many implants fail due to improper occlusal design that can concentrate the stresses in the bone and can lead to bone resorption. So the goal of any prosthetic procedure must include the establishment of a functional occlusal scheme. And for this implant prosthetic superstructure, the basic requirements are establishment of stable jaw relationship with maximum intercuspal contact that are bilaterally identical. So there should be simultaneous bilateral contacts, and that is to distribute the occlusal stress. Then establishment of freedom in centric within the overall occlusal scheme. So we have discussed about the freedom in centric and freedom from centric concept in our full mouth rehab session. And the next requirement is elimination of any interference between the maximum intercuspal and the retruded contact position. So there should not be any interference between the maximum intercuspal and retruded contact position. And then we have to provide a harmonic free mandibular movement with only light tooth contacts during both the lateral as well as the protrusive manners. So these are the requirements for the occlusal scheme for all-on-4 technique. So the main fact that we have to focus is that to distribute the stress and not to concentrate the stress in the bone, which can lead to bone resorption and failure of the implant. So in case of immediate loading, we have to minimize the length of the cantilever, and there should be simultaneous bilateral point contacts on all teeth except the teeth on the cantilever distal to the implant emergence. And in lateral movements, there should be either group function or guidance with flat linear pathways, and that too excluding the teeth in the cantilever. Whereas in protrusive movement, there should be anterior guidance, that is distributed on all the anterior teeth including the canines. And even if the implant supported prosthesis is opposed to a removable full denture, in excursive movement, balancing contacts should be avoided. So this is the occlusal scheme for immediate loading of the all-on-4 prosthesis. Next is the occlusal scheme for the all-on-4 definitive prosthesis. So, in centric occlusal position, there should be simultaneous bilateral point contacts on canine and posterior teeth and only grazing contacts on the incisors. Whereas in lateral movements, there should be a canine guidance occlusion if it is opposing a natural dentation and a group function if it is opposing a posterior implant supported bridge. And if the processes is opposing a complete denture or an implant supported overdenture or a distal extension CPD, leave the most distal tooth slightly out of occlusion, and in excursive movement there should be one or more balancing contacts. So, depending upon the opposing processes, we have to change the occlusal scheme, and the occlusal pattern should have relatively flat cusp, that is, the inclination of the cuspal plane should be less than that of the inclination of the condylar path. And since the teeth of the distal cantilever are less heavily loaded, so there should be more load on the incisors and canines, and so the guiding surfaces can be expected to undergo increased abrasion with time. Therefore, we have to eliminate premature or non-working side contacts on the distal cantilever. Next, let us see the criteria for success of the processes. So, from a surgical perspective, there are certain points, that is, use of a relatively low torque producing implants, preparation of an osseous shelf to level the alveolar ridge and to establish optimum implant sites and to provide adequate interocclusal space. Whereas from the prosthetic perspective, stable splintering of all the 4 implants with the provisional immediately after surgery and careful occlusal adjustment to provide bilateral occlusion in the canine and first premolar area, and to avoid occlusal contact towards distal of the processes, that is on the cantilever, and to maximize the AP spread. So, these are the criteria for success from the surgical perspective and from the prosthetic perspective. Finally, coming to the conclusion, so various researches done on the concept and practice of the rehabilitation has advanced the all-on-4 treatment option from a skeptical one to the most predictable one with commendable success rate. And this technique demonstrates excellent aesthetic outcomes with a reduction in surgery time without any complications. Thus, we come to the end of the session of all-on-4 technique. These are my references. So, thank you all for watching my video. Please do like and share my videos if you are finding them useful, and if you are new to this channel Prostho Hub, please do subscribe and show your support. If you have any queries or suggestions or any topic that needs to be discussed, do comment below the video or you can mail me at this mail ID. So, we'll meet in our next session. Until then, bye from Prostho Hub.